All right, folks, so these pop-up tents, they are 8x8 foot pop-up tents, angled legs, not straight up. We'll see how that comes into play a little bit later. But this is how you're gonna set it up by yourself. First and foremost, remove the packaging, flip it over, take that off, we can set it aside. Now, this is where things are important because you don't want to put any undue stress onto these legs. So you're gonna just take your time, open it up as much as you can, kind of walk side to side and work down on these bottom angles here to push up and make it wider. Again, if you ever feel like one of these legs is buckling as you push up, just stop and sort of resituate and make sure that they're moving freely as you move up. Now I've gotten to a distance wide enough now that I can probably push this up and click it into place. There you go, that's now clicked into place. So that's gonna help us, that's where we start getting all of them. So now we're gonna make our way around and push up and click all of those into place past this little silver stopper, like that. All of those are in place and the tent fabric is back cleanly down overneath that over top of that mechanism. So now we're gonna go ahead and raise all of these up. Again, if you feel like anything is buckling, just slow down and let it naturally slide. We want all of those to naturally slide. If they're catching on the ground, you're gonna wanna lift them up and let them get to a point where they can slide. Okay, everything's in place. Now the last step is once we have everything up, we're probably gonna wanna orient things a little bit better. See, we're by the altar right now. We probably want to move this whole unit back this way just a little bit. If you can get a helper for this, it's incredible because that way you can lift all the legs off the ground at one time as you move. But if you can't, just try and go a little bit at a time if those legs behind you aren't sliding. Again, if they catch, you're gonna need to go one step at a time, move to the other side, go one step, and then kind of like wiggle back and forth. But in this case, they are sliding, so we're good. I'm gonna move it to right here. All right. And again, we're sort of in a compact area here right now. You probably would want your tent to be a little further out from the congregation in the case of a ceremony. You would know, basically you'd have to be outside of the seats, but in this case we don't have the seats and we're in sort of a tight parking lot back here. So for the sake of this demonstration, we're just gonna be a little bit closer. All right, let's go ahead now. We're gonna use our sandbags to make sure our tent is secured and it won't blow away. Please do this under any circumstance, even if you don't feel any wind, because Mother Nature can come and get you at any time. It's happened to me before. Be sure to put these on. So here's how we'll do this. Each leg's gonna get a 25-pound gray sandbag. You're gonna undo the Velcro straps, and then you're just gonna hug that upright, just like that. Basically swallow it, boom, like that. And then you will wrap these around just as they were to strap it on nice and secure. I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other 3 uprights. All right, so here you are. You've finished your event and now you've cleared out all of your equipment, and the last thing to do is to tear down your tent. It's essentially gonna be everything in reverse, but there are a couple little idiosyncrasies that I think are nice to cover in this video just to help you out. One thing I did wanna mention, I alluded to it earlier, but I wanted to make sure you all knew. This is an angled side tent, so you don't want to set this thing up and be like, oh man, these things should be straight. I think some of our DJs have done that before and they ended up actually damaging this. This should be running down on an angle, okay? All right, we're gonna start out by removing our sandbags in the exact opposite way that we put them on. Pretty straightforward. Just make sure that once you do take it off, they store so much better and they take care of themselves a lot better if you will take the time to make them nice and tight and put the Velcro back exactly the way that you found it. And that's a general rule of thumb at Fireside for everything. Just try and get it back to the way that you found it. All right, I'll get the other sandbags. All right, so step 2, now that your sandbags are off, is going to be to lower the legs. You're gonna go one at a time. It's gonna make it a little bit wobbly, so try and just ease this down so that you don't do any damage. Same thing over here. Now that you have 2 down, it should sit a little bit more easily, but as you go down, you're gonna wanna lift this leg up too so that it just goes nice and even without torquing any of these stands. Take your time, kind of always have a hand on the actual tent. Now you're back to ground zero, nice and easy. We'll raise these up. The best way to do this is you'll lift up the side here, and then you're gonna go under here and use your finger just to push in this silver knob, and then let this go beneath that clicking point. We'll do that on all 4 sides, and then we're gonna bring it together. All right, so here's the part that is a little challenging to do by yourself, but again, it should be able to be done by one person. You shouldn't have to rely on anybody else. Watch your fingers as you go in. They're gonna wanna get bitten by this frame, but you're gonna wanna slowly walk into the center, bringing this slowly together as the wind picks it up as a sail. And then as soon as you can reach to find another side, go ahead and use that wingspan to bring 2 in together at one time. Again, the more that you can bring it at once, the less likely it's gonna be that you end up pulling and damaging one of the other legs. All right, and then leave that like that. I'm gonna grab the bag. I'm just gonna flip this bag right over top. And work it around. And then gently make its way down and over our canopy. Again, we'll just be putting it back the way that we found it. Zipper it up, and then we're good to go. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the tent setup and teardown.